Next order will be Senator Huffines, then Mr. Prather, and then Colonel Allen. This is about education. This is about our future. The federal government has declared war on parents who challenge their school boards, especially with subjects like CRT and sex education. How will you listen to the voices of parents and keep Texas schools conservative? Mr. Huffines?
Thank you. Well, this is where the state of Texas spends most of our money, is on education. What is more important than educating our kids? Really nothing. This is our future. These children are our future. I personally, in my campaign, we've uncovered a lot of documents that CRT is being taught to our government workers at the Department of Family and Protective Services. There's an onboarding document that was brought to us by a whistleblower, for instance, that requires everyone to work for this 13,000-person agency to read this 29-page document, watch videos on CRT, and get tested on it. And get tested. This is pure Marxist propaganda. It's trying to separate us into different segments of society and let us compete with each other. Well, they've taken that down finally. They have. Well, education, it'll be important and top priority in my administration. I'm a champion for school choice, and I was the one that filed those bills in Austin in 2015. I believe in competition. Competition lowers the price of everything and it increases the quality of everything it touches. And it's certainly going to do that in a government monopoly like our government school system. This is our opportunity to make sure that our future is taken care of our children, and it will be under Huffines administration. Thank you.
You've heard me say it many times. You think I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but I mean it. I think we need to burn the public education system to the ground. It's built on a bad foundation. It's built on the Dewey and Man system of humanism that elevates man to the point of deity and bowing down to the altar of me, myself, and I. It's an education that leads to socialism, ultimately to Marxism, and so when you see CRTV, I used to work for CRTV, it's hard to leave the V out. When you see critical race theory being brought in, it's just repackaged Marxism. If we kill it now, it just comes back repackaged under another label later on, because that's what this system will continue to foster. It wants to produce Marxists. And then our kids don't have any sense of education, no idea what critical or complex thinking is, because our teachers, God bless you, have not been allowed to educate, to teach, to train, to evaluate, to promote, but you've been told you've got to train for a test that's standardized so we can get money from Washington, D.C., so we can continue turning out little communists. Now, you don't believe me, go to a college campus and see where we're sending them and what's churning out right there. We have a governor that's consistently putting lunatic progressives on the Board of Regents. A man that claims to be a Republican is putting these progressives on our Board of Regents. So that when our kids graduate from these socialist institutions of brainwashing we call public schools, and they go out and they enter into a college or a university, after 4 or 5 years they come out deeply in debt with a degree and undecided. They don't know who they are because we're not teaching them. We've got to untie the hands of our teachers and let them educate. Let them do what they dreamed of doing all through their own school years in molding young minds and turning them loose on the world. We must make sure that the curriculum that is put forth is one of American values, true history, not revisionist history. One that reminds people that civics matters, economics matters, small government matters, and faith matters as well. Folks, we need to incentivize without overreach or reaching in those who choose to homeschool, those who choose to educate their children through co-ops, and we must think outside of the box because let's face it, we're spending $93 billion a year in this state. to fund these socialist institutions called the public schools. It's time for a change. It's time to stop doing things that we've always done and getting the exact same results, folks. Let's take our kids' minds back. We have a moral obligation to the next generation. I've told you, and I'm telling you, the chickens are coming home to roost.
Thank you. So, pick up your microphone. I think we have some people in the back who said be able to hear you better.
Hear me okay? All right. You're looking at someone that's a product of school choice. I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, the old Fourth Ward neighborhood. My parents did not send me to John Hope and C.W. Hill. They sent me to Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School. And if you read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx, one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto is the state control of education. And that's where we are in the United States of America. That's where we are in the state of Texas. Many of you have heard me say the most important elected position in the country is not president, it's not senator, it's not congressman, it's not governor, it's school board. And that's why when the parents over at South Lake, Carroll ISD, asked me to come over to help them fight against the Cultural Competency Action Plan, we stood up the South Lake Families PAC. And guess what has happened at South Lake? They flipped their school board. When the parents down there in South Lake, the third largest school district in the state of Texas, asked me to come down and sit with them. I sat down, did a video with 3 candidates. They flipped the Cy-Fair School Board this past election. That's what we have to do. We have to get out there and work with the parents. I need you to run for school board, and I will support you in running for school board, because that's how we change. School is so important. School choice is a civil rights issue of this generation. And when I think about what is happening, this is cultural Marxism. And we cannot allow cultural Marxism to come in and infiltrate the schools here. I will tell you one of the things, Mr. Mike Morath, who is head of the Texas Education Agency, he can pack his bags because he will not be back in this school. We've got to reform the Texas Education Agency. We've got to get school choice passed. That was one of the things that I advocated for heavily as the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. And I find it very disconcerting that we have quote-unquote Republicans that aren't working hard for school choice. The only way that you enjoy the equality of opportunity that this country affords you is through a good quality education. If you don't have a good quality education, you will not have the equality of opportunity. You will have the equality of outcomes, which is what the progressive socialist left wants. So this is so important. The other thing that I need you all to do is find out who is your member on the Texas State Board of Education. And we need to make sure that we have good, strong, constitutional conservatives that are on the Texas State Board of Education. No independent school district that wants to teach cultural Marxism will get funding from a West administration. No more progressive socialists on the board of regents for our colleges and universities here in the state of Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final question before we go to our closing statement. And this will be a 3-minute question, and we will go Colonel West, and then Mr. Prather, and then Senator Huffines. First of all, if you are here and you're on social media, please share this with your friends, with the people on your social media. Use the hashtag #KeepTexasRed. If you're in Collin County, you can use the hashtag Collin County or Collin GOP or Collin County Republican Party. Those of you who came from other counties, again, welcome. We're so happy you're here. Use your local party's hashtag and get the word out, because November of 2022 starts now. So in keeping with this, we've got a final question to keep Texas red. With Beto announcing that he is in the race, that wasn't ironical. Will you commit to endorse, support, and work for whoever the Republican primary voters choose so that we can unify the Republican Party and keep Texas red come November? Colonel West.
Absolutely. Because I think about when you're a commander in combat, you don't look to your adjacent unit who are fighting against the enemy and say, I'm not going to support them. If someone is the primary effort in a fight on the battlefield, and you're the supporting effort, you're there for them if they need you. You're there if you're the reserve force or what have you. So this is not about me personally. This is about the country that I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. This is about the great state of Texas, which is the tip of the spear in this ideological battlefield in which we find ourselves. And I don't think Robert Francis O'Rourke has a chance. But this is the deal. We've got to send a message to the left that this whole thing about turning Texas blue is a pipe dream. That it will never happen. And it's certainly not going to happen as long as you embrace the philosophies of Karl Marx, Joseph Stalin, or many of the other socialist Marxist dictators. Texas has the lead. As I say so often, the Lone Star illuminates the other 49 on the American flag. And whoever you select is your warrior, is your gladiator to go into the arena to do the fight for you. Allen West will have their back. Thank you.
I wholeheartedly agree, absolutely, 100%. I am thankful for the men to my right. I pray for them every day. Colonel West and Senator Huffines are friends of mine. And I'm thankful to say, wherever I go throughout this great state, that it's my pleasure not to run against them, but to run alongside them. Whoever winds up on the Republican ticket in that primary election will get my vote. Whoever winds up in a, let's say, a runoff against Greg Abbott will get my vote. I'm a social media guy. I have millions of followers. I'm currently in Facebook jail for a really good joke. I said that the difference between Rittenhouse and the vaccine is cow shots were effective. I'll see y'all in about 2 more weeks. But I will marshal the forces of social media and all the outreach I have through my television show as well, to be able to say, whoever's in that primary, I want them to support that man against Greg Abbott in the primary. When it comes to the general, we will make sure that Beto O'Rourke, who, by the way, we've got to stop giving these mindless morons, these political idiots, a voice, and giving them almost celebrity status. It's got to stop, because they bring with them a lot of money. And with a lot of money, they flip a lot of seats on a down ballot. So folks, as I said earlier, show up, vote. Make sure that what happened in 2018 in the down ballot when he ran against Senator Cruz does not happen again in this gubernatorial election. It's on us to make sure that Texas stays red, and on us to make sure that we don't allow that type of idiocy and lunacy to have any place in political rhetoric in our great state. Hell no, you're not getting my AR-15 or whatever Joe Biden calls it. He calls it 14. Or my AK-47. God bless these men, God bless this process, God bless this primary, and God bless this election.
Well, thank you, and I echo what Chad said. I too will support whoever wins the nomination for the Republican Party, and I'll support whoever gets in the runoff against Greg Abbott. The 3 people up here on the stage. I love the Republican Party. I've been a member of the Republican Party and supporting it all my life. I've been like a delegate to many, many state conventions, national conventions, and I love our party platform. It's put together by tens of thousands of Texas Republicans. This is what we do at our convention, the largest convention in the country, maybe the largest one in the world. It clearly defines who we are as Texas Republicans in our legislative agendas, and that's why I ran for office. Because I was tired of Republicans campaigning one way and then governing a different way and not paying attention to it. So I pray to you that the candidate that we have representing us against Bobby O'Rourke is someone who believes Republican Party, who believes in you and what you want as our legislative agenda. And in the Huffines administration, that's what you're going to get. I'm with you. I'm for you. I'm here because of you and because of the Republican Party. Truly, it is the answer to who we are as Texans. This is our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're into our 2 minutes. The timers, if you'll set your clocks for 2 minutes. Our 2-minute closing statement from each of the candidates. And we will start with Senator Huffines, then go to Mr. Prather, and then finish up with Colonel West. 2 minutes, and in that conclusion, please let us know why you are the best governor candidate for governor. Senator Huffines.
Thank you. Imagine, patriots, imagine a Texas where the border is completely secure. That you don't have to worry about the cartels coming over and poisoning your children with fentanyl and sex trafficking. Imagine, you don't have to rent your home from the government anymore. You don't have to rent your business from the government anymore. You can actually own your own home. Imagine a Texas where you've got confidence in your elections, that your vote's not being stolen, and we're not going to have government corruption. Well, that's the Texas you're going to get in the Huffines administration. A Texas where we can all be united together, working together. When we are united, there's nothing that can stop us, nothing can keep us from doing what's best for the Republican Party and best for Texas. Patriots, grab those swords of liberty and help me cut the chains of government. Awaken the sheep from their slumber so they too can help us restore the liberties that have been stolen from us. Awaken them to the power of the Constitution, the power of the free market, the power of our Jesus Christ himself. Patriots, this is our time. This is the time we've been waiting for. Join me. Go to donhuffines.com. donhuffines.com. Join me in this revolution of ideas, and the only ammunition we need is our love of Texas. This is Texas. We're going to get our swagger back. God bless you, and God bless Texas.
I haven't opened any field offices. I haven't raised millions of dollars. In fact, I call myself as grassroots as it gets, which is politispeak for saying we're broke. My field office is parked in a parking lot. It's got a dog in the back seat. That dog has seen more of Texas in the last 5 months than most of you will ever see in your lifetime. That's the truth. We've crisscrossed that state. I came in from South Texas. I started at 4 a.m. this morning to be here, and I'll turn around and go back this afternoon. I love this great state. I don't need to dial for dollars for you to give me money in order to convince me to do a job that you need done. I want that job done out of the conviction of my heart because I believe we have a moral obligation before God's providence in Texas. I believe that it's time we get government out of our lives. I don't believe that there is a complex solution that can be solved while still being politically correct, and God knows I'm not. So folks, I want to make politics boring again. I want to do as Sam Houston said, govern wisely and as little as possible. Amen. Folks, it's time for us to get small, real small in a very big state, so that you have so much liberty that you'll forget the name Ron DeSantis. I woke up. The first day of September was 666 new laws in my life. That's a weird number. I didn't want them. Most of them I didn't want them. Didn't go to bed thinking I couldn't wait to get to them. In 1773, our forefathers went out into the dark waters of Boston Harbor and they spilled tea over taxation without representation because a monarchy had taken over and was oppressing them. Folks, it's time for us to go to Travis County and have an Austin Tea Party. It's time to get Texas back on track. that has the ability to do it. May God bless Texas.
At the age of 15, my dad looked me eyeball to eyeball. He had served in the United States Army as a corporal during World War II in a segregated army. My older brother was a lance corporal in the United States Marine Corps, an infantryman wounded in Vietnam. And on that day, my dad said, there's no greater honor than to wear the uniform of the United States of America. And he challenged me to be the first officer in the family. And so through high school there, and then also on to the University of Tennessee, on 31 July 1982, I became a second lieutenant in the United States Army. I took those immortal words that said I would support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But the thing is that, what is a warrior? A warrior is a person that moves to the sound of the guns. And so even though after 22 years, fighting on combat zones, 13 different countries, 3 combat zones, I came back home and I retirement there in South Florida, and someone asked me to run for Congress. I said, okay, I'll run to the sound of the guns. Then after moving here to Texas, I saw what happened in 2018, and someone asked me to run for chairman of the Republican Party of Texas because we did not want to have a debacle. I said, I'll move to the sound of the guns. And then advocated for all of those legislative priorities. I saw the doors being closed by people down in Austin to you all. Disregarded, disrespected. And so someone asked me, would you even consider running for governor of Texas? And so I said, I'll move to the sound of the guns. All I'm asking to do is to continue to do that which my dad challenged me. To serve, to sacrifice, and commit to the greatest state and the greatest country that the world has ever known. So goes Texas, so goes America, so goes America, so goes the free world. Therefore, what happens here in Texas will resonate across the entire globe, and that's why I want to be your next governor. West or Texas, by far.
We're going to bring the first vice president of the Collin County GOP back on stage, but first, let's give all of our candidates here today a round of applause.
So folks, you may remember at the beginning of today's debate, this event, we talked about you came in here and you were asked to participate in the largest straw poll in all North Texas. Well, it looks like all of you stayed for the results. Isn't that great? So, with no further ado, I would like to ask for those results which are under lock and key to please come forward this time. John Montez and Terry Wade, please come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, before we announce the results, I want to make sure you remember to go out. We have many great organizations that have supported today's efforts in this great event. Make sure you stop by all those tables, those booths, both inside and outside. You'll be able to get a lot of good information. There's signs, there's t-shirts, there's all types of things. So make sure you stop by those tables. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the results in my hand. We have had over 430 responses to the straw poll. Give yourselves a round of applause. Okay? So, I will tell you, the undecided have a total of 14.12% the straw poll. 14.12. Before you go any further, I want to ask a question. How many of you all, if you had to redo your vote based upon what you've seen in this morning's debate, by a show of hands, how many of you all would have changed your vote this morning? Wow. That's a large number. So it's worthwhile coming here today. How many of you all, conversely, were reinforced by what you saw on your vote? So it looks like a good number. It looks like many of you were just not quite sure what you saw, perhaps. So, undecided, 14.12%. Greg Abbott, 8.56%. And I will tell you, it was very close among the top 3 vote getters. Very close. When you have a poll like this, you might expect some different things. I'll tell you, it's very close. Coming in at 22.69%, Don Huffines. Let's give Don a big round of applause. Coming in with 25.93%, Chad Prather. And coming in at the top of the poll today with 28.7%, Alan West. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have a job to do. You need to go out and educate, communicate, and go out and get things taken care of out in the field with the grassroots. We have a job to do, and we're in the middle of that job. Do you realize when the primary is? When is the primary? March 1st, Tuesday, March 1st. And what is today? Nearly the beginning of December, right? So a little more than 60 days from now is the primary. And by the way, we have a special announcement we'd like to make sure you are aware of. There's a COVID symposium, 2021 Part 2, taking place at Open Door Church in Burleson, Texas. That takes place on the 4th of December from 6 to 9 p.m. at Open Door Church at 301 South Dobson Street in Burleson, Texas. You are invited to attend that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a great time this morning on behalf of all the volunteers, of all the members here present, on behalf of the Collin County Republican Party, on behalf of the State Party, Republican Party of Texas. Thank you, and God bless Texas.